All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. Thank you for being here this morning. This is our November session of Employment First Topics and Tactics. And we know you have a lot of important things to do, and we appreciate you spending an hour with us once a month. This is our monthly series that equips job seekers, employment professionals, parents, partners, anyone who's interested with tools and strategies to advance employment first principles in Arizona. Um, we want to remind everyone live captioning is available. To access live captions, please click on the live transcript button at the bottom of your screen. If you encounter any challenges, please reach out to me or the Sonoran Center in the chat and let us know so we can help you out. I want to remind everybody, our presenters and any attendees who speak, to please try not to talk too quickly so that the captioner is able to keep up with us. If we get too excited, it's a big burden. And before we begin, we'd like to offer a land acknowledgement. We respectfully acknowledge the University of Arizona is on the land and territories of Indigenous peoples. Today, Arizona is home to 22 federally recognized tribes, with Tucson being home to the Thana O'odham and the Yaqui. We are grateful to be on this land, and we pay our respect to the elders past and present. We also want to acknowledge Arizona Vocational Rehabilitation, we all know as VR, Employment First Topics and Tactics is funded by Arizona Voc Rehab, and our full Employment First initiative, they fund that as well. And with this initiative, we promote competitive integrated employment for all Arizonans with disabilities. I think speaking is hard for me this Monday morning. So please don't miss future sessions of topics and tactics. If you're not registered for the whole series, please go ahead and get yourself registered. And again, let us know if you have any issues accessing this content this morning. Okay, that's all my housekeeping. So I want to get on with our program. For this month's session, and to honor Veterans Day tomorrow, we've been contemplating the intersection of disability and our veterans, our thankful citizens who have been out there in efforts to support us and defend us. In Arizona, nearly 20% of working age veterans report having a disability. That's a big intersection, my friends. We don't often immediately think about our disabled veterans when we in the disability realm go about our services, and we don't intentionally collaborate with our veteran service providers. So here at Employment First, we thought maybe we should start changing that. So this month we have invited Suzanne Bond, CEO of Esperanza En Escalante, and some colleagues to join us to talk more about the service systems that support our veterans and our veterans with disabilities, including employment service. We want to learn from their best practices. I apologize, my words aren't coming out right this morning. So we want to learn from their best practices in veterans employment and overall support services. So Suzanne joined Esperanza as CEO in March of 2023, bringing over 25 years of leadership experience to nonprofits serving unhoused and extremely low-income individuals. And her diverse background includes 2 years as the executive director at Catholic Community Services in Tucson. At Esperanza, Suzanne is focused on growing service lines to include veteran suicide prevention, support services for veterans' dependents, and continued case management for veterans who have transitioned to long-term housing. Under her guidance, Esperanza maintains an impressive track record with over 80% of referred veterans successfully moving into permanent housing. Suzanne is passionate about creating opportunities for veterans to thrive, and as she often says, our veterans deserve to thrive. They are ready and all they need is a little help from us. Her vision includes increasing housing opportunities and developing innovative programs to support veterans at every stage of their journey. So I am going to turn this over to Suzanne, and I look forward to this discussion. Thank you so much for being here this morning, Suzanne.
Thank you so much, Gina. I'm pleased to be here. Am I on the screen? I don't know.
Yep.
Okay, very
You're
good.
not sharing though.
Oh, I'm not sharing yet. Yep, I
No.
just wanted to say hello first. I'm Suzanne, and I am with Esperanza. And with me, I have Sandy Chavez. She is an amazing partner of ours. Say hello, Sandy, if you can.
Hi, good morning, everybody. I'm the outreach intake specialist for Endeavors.
Yes, and Sandy is an incredible partner with Esperanza and all of the veteran service providers here in Tucson. Sandy works with veterans to ensure that they can get employed here in Tucson, and then she follows up to make sure they stay employed. So she's going to have a lot to share with us today. So I am going to share my screen. Okay. Let's see if I can do this. All right. So just a little bit about Esperanza and Escalante. We've been serving veterans here in Tucson for 36 years. Our current scope includes 72 units of transitional housing. And those units are across 10 group homes. And then we have 13 apartments, which families can stay in. We have 98 permanent housing units. We serve 94 veterans and their families in our long-term housing programs right now. And we are the only completely sober GPT program in Tucson. Sandy, did you want to say some information about Endeavors?
Sure, I'd like to, Endeavors has been around since 1969. Um, just past 2000, July of 2024, we have migrated to the Pima County area, Tucson, and now migrated to the Sierra Vista area. So we're serving not only Pima County, but Sierra Vista. And what Endeavors does is work really closely, like, for example, with Esperanza, come in and we believe, first of all, in doing intakes where the veteran is at, because as we know, the veteran already has 1,001 appointments. So if it's one less appointment they have to worry about getting to, I usually try to come out to them. Also, once they get assigned, the case managers will also come to the veteran where they're at. But what we are is mainly we focus on employment. If the veteran is wanting to also reinvent themselves, we've put now 4 of our veterans through CDL training. 2 of them are already out on the road in their trucks trekking. So it's not only limited to that. The veteran can come up with an idea, and if it's within reason, and if they're meeting regularly with their case managers, it's something that we could invest in. Some of them are doing IT. Some of them as small as guard cards, forklift certification, heavy equipment. So what Endeavors believes in is not only employing the veteran, but maintaining the veteran so that way they stay employed and they don't end up back into the cycle. We walk alongside them for a full year. In the beginning, as we know, the veteran might be struggling to get interview clothes, things like that. We help with interviewing clothes, with work clothes, work boots, materials, whatever it may be. Like I said, we walk alongside them for a full year to assure that the veterans not only in employment or have finished their training, but are thriving and happy in their job. The case managers checking on them on a regular basis, make sure they're not having difficulties, and if we'll walk alongside them and be an advocate for them.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that in working with veterans that you need to be somebody who can meet them where they are, but also just treat them like a normal person. People don't want to be like feeling like you're talking down to them or that you're treating them as if they're less than or different than. And Sandy is wonderful at just, treating the person like they're her neighbor or somebody that she cares for without overreaching her boundaries. She's wonderful at that. And so veterans feel really comfortable working with her. And that's something that's really important about this population. They have done they have given their lives essentially for Sandy and for myself and for all of us on this phone call. And so they want to be treated with dignity when they're working with us. It's so important.
Right.
So I just wanted to start. And Sandy, can we agree that if someone has a question, they're welcome to just kind of pop in?
Oh, please do. Anything. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Yeah, wonderful. So I thought that housing for us is really kind of the foundation for veteran employment. And I think that probably is something that all of us can relate to because it's really difficult to job search from the shelter or the street. The practical barriers are, it's difficult when you don't have a stable address, phone, or internet, when they don't have clean clothes or a safe space to interview from. So we feel like the path forward here is crisis, then to create some stability, readiness, employment, and then we see independence. Did you have anything you wanted to add to that, Sandy?
That I can think of other than like Susan was saying, it's really important for the veteran to feel safe and comfortable, because how then can I do my job of them employment searching if they're not feeling safe about where they're laying their head at night?
Yeah, absolutely. So, understanding disabilities. So, like Gina said, 20% of working age Arizona veterans report having a disability. And a lot of those disabilities are disabilities that you can't see. Um, PTSD and traumatic brain injury, they're huge in this population. Physical injuries and loss of limbs, military sexual trauma is something that especially the female veterans have experienced. Toxin related illnesses, burn pits, and Agent Orange. And then because of these things, a lot of substance abuse disorders. Um, Many have unpredictable symptom patterns because of these things. And I will say that veterans that don't have diagnosed disabilities often have difficulty in workplaces because um, being a military person can be very stressful. And I know that some of the veterans that work for me are constantly afraid that they're going to make a mistake and that they're going to have some demerit or they're going to get punished by me in a way that would never happen in the civilian workforce. And they bring that towards, forward with them and have a lot of anxiety just about how, practicing in the regular workforce. And so that's something that we really have to overcome together. And it takes a lot of time. Sandy, did you have anything on this?
I was going to add, even with putting the disabilities aside, you have to remember that too, the veteran is used to a routine. Everything is structured from them, from their what they're doing in the day to when they're eating. And you have to remember when they transition out into the civilian world, that's a huge transition from them because they go from years of being structured and to having a title where they are, whether it be sergeant, first class, whatever it may be, they essentially come out into the civilian life, having to integrate as a normal civilian.
Yeah, and that's really difficult. Right now, we have Davis Mountain is changing their mission, and so a lot of our military are losing their positions at the base. And they're making around $40 an hour in the military. And sometimes positions that aren't directly transferable to the Tucson workforce. And so it's very difficult to come out into a workplace that you're not going to make that kind of money to. Um, and so they might be making half of that if they're able to get a job in the Tucson community. So that's a very difficult thing. Um, So understanding military culture, there's a lot of strengths. They're trained to follow hierarchy and complete missions. They have a strong sense of duty and commitment. They thrive with clear direction and expectations. The challenge is the loss of structure that we were talking about and purpose after a service. Employment is about finding meaning, not just a paycheck for them. Perceived failures trigger intense shame and anxiety, and civilian workplaces can feel really isolating for our veterans. Under unclear expectations and constantly shifting priorities are especially frustrating for our veteran workforce. Sandy, did you have anything? Sorry.
Not that I can think of. Thank you.
So I find that this is a big issue, and I have to be really thoughtful to make sure that I'm in my natural management. I am very flexible with people. I do not like to micromanage at all, but my newest employee who just came out of the military, he needs me to be much more structured for him. And as leaders, sometimes we have to do that. We have to lead to the person and not just our own style. So that's something I have to do for him. Service-connected trauma in the workforce, what it includes: combat, post-traumatic stress disorder, and military sexual trauma, traumatic brain injuries, and chronic pain. It's not just combat, but it includes all service experiences. So people are dealing with a lot of trauma. A lot of times veterans fall into homelessness, which is the population we serve, because they're dealing with a lot of post-traumatic stress and a lot of trauma, and that might keep them up all night. We have veterans on campus that just yell out in the middle of the night all night long, and you can imagine if you have to wake up for work the next morning and get your kids ready and get out the door, and then be concentrating the whole day and be kind to other people, how difficult that might be after night of that trauma happening. Um, and it shows up with hypervigilance, scanning rooms and watching exits, not being able to, sit with their back to the door, difficulty in crowded or open office spaces. They might be startled from behind, and their triggers might not always be obvious to you and I. Normal responses to abnormal experiences, they're not broken, but they might have a lot of coping skills that might not seem obvious to you and I. And it might be something that as an employer, you have to come to understand and help the veteran overcome in the workplace. You might have to give them, a desk that faces the door, instead of putting them in a desk that faces away from the door. You might want to try to find a place that's not as loud to them for them. These things all can be accommodated, but you have to know what to look for, and you have to know how to talk to the veterans about what they might need. Sandy, I'm going to just assume you'll bust in if you want to, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank
I was just going to add too that when the veteran comes in and they do intake, they meet with the case manager. The case manager will have a couple of meetings with them to kind of figure out where the veteran is at. And like Susan spoke of, we'll be hyper vigilant of what type of jobs we're placing that veteran in. So again, that they can thrive in that position.
Yeah. So on the job supports veterans need, getting hired is just the beginning for these veterans. Some critical supports include flexible schedules for VA appointments and treatment. That is something a lot of times our veterans have a lot of VA appointments that they really need support to get to. And so they might need to be able to make it to that appointment in the middle of the day and then get back to work. So that's something that is very important to understand when you're hiring the veteran and make sure that you can accommodate. Understanding employers who recognize post-traumatic stress disorder triggers, and those triggers are different for everyone. I have post-traumatic stress disorder, and my triggers are very different than most of the veterans that are here. Um, so I would have different needs than another person, very much so. So it would be important to talk to your employee about that. Physical accommodations for injuries and disabilities, those are things that this everyone on this call is very used to, but it's something that our veterans very much need. Mental health support during work stress, reliable transportation solutions, ongoing substance abuse support while working. Some of our veterans would need that very much so. Especially our Vietnam veterans, a lot of them and other veterans, to tell you the truth, while they were serving in combat situations, they were encouraged to use substances by our own military, believe it or not, um, as a way to get them through those moments, those very difficult moments. And so they bring that home with them, um, and sometimes have a really difficult time walking away from that substance abuse. Veterans, the critical gap, veterans getting housed and stable, getting hiring, and then they lose their jobs when supports drop off. And that's one of the reasons that Sandy's ongoing support is so important. What helps is ongoing case management after employment, employer education about veterans' needs, peer support networks, and I would say that is incredibly important, and safe housing to decompress after difficult work days. And it's wonderful if veterans have a home they can go home to with family supports. That is a wonderful thing.
That's where I'd like to add too that there's different groups in Tucson, like there's Rally Point in Tucson that we always point our veterans to. They have a camaraderie dinner, so we encourage them to attend those so that way they have like-minded, yeah, like brethren kind of supporting them.
Yeah, that's the thing that we find on our campus. We're an all veteran campus. And I think probably 85% of the healing that happens on our campus is veteran to veteran. They are such a supportive group. They just wrap around each other and help each other out, and they understand each other in ways that civilians can't. And having multiple veterans in your workforce can be really amazing that they support each other. So, oh, here we go. Hiring veterans together. Veterans thrive when they're not the only one. The benefits is that it recreates that military, I can't even say that word, camaraderie. Thank you. It's a hard one for me. Built-in peer support and accountability, natural mentorship opportunities, and when one succeeds, others see it as possible. Intentionally hiring veteran, intentional veteran hiring becomes a retention advantage. It is really true. They will die for each other. And so this community is the most supportive of one another. It's amazing to be a part of it and to see that support of one another. But if you're able to find, you want to hire the best candidate, you want to hire quality people. But if you can hire more than one veteran, they will stand up together and really support each other in ways that you'll be amazed by. Just like Sandy was saying. Best practice for employment providers. So communication, you want to be direct and clear and understand resistance to help. So our veterans are a very proud group. They do not want to feel like they're being babied by you. I always say that they are the OG of support to this community. They came into the military to support us. They want to be the helpers. They don't want to be helped. And that will create a resistance to receiving help that will keep them out in the desert for years, until they have to crawl here, to tell you the truth. So you want to make sure that your help is something that they're willing to accept. You don't want to guess what they need. You want to communicate with them about what they need. But at the same time, you want to be really direct and clear in your communications with them. They want you to do that for them. They're used to that. That's how they were communicated with in the military. Um, Recognition, you want to see them as capable and look beneath their overreactions if they're having some difficulty. Veterans that have left the military sometimes have lost their identity. They have lost their feelings that they are a provider, they are somebody that is giving to the community, and seeing them as capable, and they are very capable. They have so much training and they have so much loyalty. They are very capable, and to see them as that way really helps them to live up to it. And then your flexibility and support and your the quality, holding them to quality still really matters. Um, Sandra, did you have anything on this one? Best practice to support those veterans?
Like Susan was saying, be very direct. That's one thing. If you're gonna say if you're gonna say something, follow through with it, because they have trust is really big.
Yeah.
So kind of hold to your word. If you tell them certain things, try to stick by what you've told them, because that's really, really important to them also.
Yeah. They're also like the most appreciative group of people I've
Yeah.
ever served. It's incredible. If you are that person that is clear with them, that stands by your word, who sees them as capable and gives them the opportunity to be successful, they will have your back forever. They are the most appreciative people in the world. And never have I served a population that is this appreciative for everything you do. They are an incredible community.
And their timing is impeccable. If you tell them 8 o'clock, they'll be here at 7:45.
For sure, especially the Marines. Oh my goodness. Yeah, they'll definitely be early for everything and frustrated at all of us that are 5 minutes late. So that is the thing. Current challenges and opportunity. Challenges are funding instability and system coordination, maintaining program independence and balancing dignity with necessity support. Um, those are challenges for us, especially in the employment right now. Opportunities are collaboration between disability and veteran services. Definitely, we're very appreciative of University of Arizona for having us today. We're looking forward to more collaboration to ensure that disabled veterans are able to get the services they need, the respect in the community, and are able to give back in the way that they wish to. And sharing best practices across systems is super helpful to us, and learning from each other's strengths. Absolutely. Thank you. Oh, we're a little bit short here. We have some more time. So does anyone have any questions? And I'm going to stop sharing.
Suzanne,
Or
this
There are a couple of comments in the chat early on when we were talking about the needs that some veterans have in the workplace. Christine said many veterans also have sound sensitivity or hearing loss, which can be a big consideration. And then Alexis said she loves that we are covering this topic to learn more about this specific area for the veteran populations.
Well, thank you so much. Tucson has a large veteran population here, and there's a lot of veteran business owners too in Tucson. And so it would be great if they were hiring more veterans and that all of us were, because there's a lot of veterans that need jobs. And there's a large homeless population of veterans here also. And I will tell you, they come to our door and they look like a homeless person. The next day they don't. They cannot wait to get showered and get their hair cut and get, dressed again and be that person that they were. Um, and they are. And they can't wait to get into a position where they can give back. On our campus, they're constantly volunteering, yes. Do you also help them receive opportunities to volunteer in the community? Absolutely. They volunteer in our own community. We have a 14-acre campus here. We're right next to the boneyard in Tucson. And so they do a lot of volunteer work for us. But we also go out and volunteer for other organizations, absolutely. And we also try to get them employed. We're working with endeavors. Our case managers are constantly working. We do have a large population, though, that will never be able to work again because of disability. That just really makes it so they're not able to go back into the workforce, or they have aged out. So the average age of a veteran falling into homelessness is over 65. There are Vietnam veterans. They're ready for retirement. And so a lot of them don't want to have to go back to work. And so we're working on that thing. What does employer education look like? I'm not quite sure of your question, but we are really working to get grants and whatnot so that we can send people back to trade schools. One of the things that's really sad to me is that right now, all of the vouchers that people are using to get reduced cost housing are melting away. So that is for our veterans also. It used to be that they'd come into our transitional housing program and we'd get them a HUD-VASH voucher that would enable them to pay 30% of whatever income they had for housing. That is going away under the current administration. So we are now working to lift their wages in any way possible. We're focusing on helping people get into trade school, to get into programs of, to go back to school. A lot of them have the ability to do that because of their the benefits they earned while they were in the military. And then we're also working to improve their benefits that they have earned through the military. So those things are really important.
Thank you, Suzanne.
So-
Can I just clarify on that question, if that's okay?
Yes, please.
So as part of your presentation, you had mentioned that, there were some key elements that led to successful employment for veterans. And part of that was the awareness of the needs and accommodations and so forth on the part of the employer. So I was curious what you all do in terms of educating the employer on those pieces to support that long-term success.
Yes. So Sandy, do you do any work on that behalf?
We've been working with some employers, like we recently, it's a veteran helping a veteran program that they started implementing. And it's really nice because not only are they a service almost essentially like a CNA, they're not only educating veterans, but they're educating employers also. So employers can bring in trainings and things to, like what they're doing, for example, is they're training veterans to help other veterans. Um, they're getting them a level 1 fingerprint card along with first aid, everything that a CNA would need, and hiring veterans first. So not only are these employers getting educated on that, they're bringing on board to help veteran programs, helping veterans. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. But yeah, for us, when we have a veteran that's going to go get employed, we definitely meet with the employer and we'll
Yes.
spend some time at the workplace with them so that we can sit down in those one-on-one meetings with the management and help advocate for what the employee might need as far as assistance with whatever disability they have. We make sure that they're aware when they are hiring about how they can accommodate the particular person and what the advantages are of providing that accommodation to the employer. A lot of times they're very low or no cost accommodations they can provide, and they'll receive an employee that is very dedicated and smart and will show up every single day ready to work. So they're very happy to do so.
And I feel a lot of employers kind of like that, I would say, with us contacting them, because Endeavors does the same thing. We'll contact the employer and say, we're here to help service the veteran, whatever helps you or helps them. How can we better serve? How can we help contribute? So when employers also see that, they look at a person like, hey, this agency is walking alongside this veteran to make sure they succeed. So they look at it like as a plus, because they're not going to have the turnover like other places might, where a person's just going to go and apply on their own and leave at their will. I mean, yeah, they still may move on or whatever, but less likely, because then you have another agency coming in and like, how can we better, how can we help this veteran help contribute to more stability?
So is it fair to say it's a little bit more like an individual, not job coach, but kind of job coach support for that individual, as opposed to going out and actually providing like fully developed trainings for employers per se?
Yeah, we don't have the funding or the ability to do that at this point, Stephanie, but it's something I would love to do for the community, and I think it is very much needed. Um, so I encourage University of Arizona to get on it. No, I'm kidding. No, but it would be a really a big win for this community if that was available to the employers, for sure.
And we do want to develop a lot of cool employer education stuff. So, we have a lot of big dreams.
I know you.
Jessica?
Yeah, I just wanted to throw this out there. I know that Suzanne, you have done a really amazing job at starting a job fair
Hmm.
within your organization.
Yeah.
So that just happened, right? This maybe last week, was it?
Yeah, we just had a job fair last week. This is our second annual job fair, and we have it on campus. And the reason that we actually started doing our own job fair was that we are on the east side, and most of the job fairs for veterans are on the other side of town. We wanted to make sure it was accessible to everyone. So we have a job fair, and it's very well attended. It's open to all veterans, and we're right next to the base, which is a great thing. And so we had a lot of interviews that came out of that job fair. So it's really wonderful to make that happen. And of course, all of the employers that came to that, we certainly support in letting them know how they can have the most successful hire. Absolutely.
I'm going to go ahead. I just noted a few things while you were talking that really struck me. And one of the things that I thought was just a great way to phrase it, and I think at times is applicable to what we encounter in the disability employment sector. And you talked about people have normal response to abnormal experiences, and it's just a really great way to say it. And I know when I give presentations a lot, we talk about disability is a normal part of the human condition. People
Certainly.
don't realize it. And
Yes.
that's where we encounter barriers. But if everyone just accepted that we all respond differently and things are this is the right way for the person to respond, so people get so caught up in judging that, and it creates so many unnecessary barriers. So I really really liked that. And you said start where the veterans at, and I know, and the disability employment landscape for so many years we have unfortunately, to our discredit, worked to try to fit people with disabilities into the round holes of what a job should look like, and we're gonna mold you to fit into this traditional workforce model. And it's really relatively recent that we've started to say, no, that's not the way that people are going to be
Right.
successful. Let's look at where this person is and what their skills are and where they're going to thrive being themselves and having the skills that the employer needs. Let's be intentional about how we're supporting people into employment. And it's surprising to me that it's such a new concept for us. And it seems like you guys had picked up on that a little sooner than we did. So
I can tell
that
you
is a
a
good
story
thing.
about one of the veterans. It's interesting because there's some behaviors that are perfectly acceptable in the military that might not be acceptable in the civilian workforce, which can be, to the detriment of trying to get hired in the civilian workforce. I had a veteran that has bipolar disease, and he gets frustrated easily and can yell. And he said when he was in the military, no one cared if he was yelling at them. People were yelling all the time. And so he would yell at other people. And it was fine. People just ignored him. He did well. He was successful. But then when he left the military, he couldn't keep a job because people don't like being yelled at by him. And that was a skill that did not keep him from success while he was in the military, but very much he had to overcome in the regular the workforce to have a job, and he wasn't able to overcome that. So, we had to try to find a job that he could be in a position that he wasn't going to be getting frustrated easily and yelling at people. And we did find that job for him. But there's many things that you can be doing in the military that you would have, behaviors that would not be successful in the normal workforce that are just fine in the military. you know, Military men often tell me that, in combat situations, they are trained to be aggressive. And, I've had a veteran say to me, that same behavior, I can't drive to Safeway and, be aggressive the whole way and be aggressive the whole way back, or go to job and be that person. But it was trained into me. And so sometimes we have to really work with those people to then undo all of that training that they've been trained for years to be. So it's a difficult road for those veterans for sure.
Absolutely. I'm seeing a question in the chat that I think we missed from Nicole. Sorry, Nicole, earlier. She asked, are there services for veterans with dementia who need a place to contribute? Is that something you're seeing a lot of?
Yes, we do have a lot of dementia. A lot of head injuries cause dementia. And so we're trying to just support, for me in my housing, those people, I'm trying to make sure they get safe and appropriate housing, to tell you the truth, which is really difficult because the VA just wants me to put them into housing that is independent. And so that's been my personal battle, is making sure they get into appropriate housing. Sandy, have you worked with people with dementia in the trying to get them positions?
Maybe not so much dementia, but there are employers that do work with special needs. Like Beacon can be one of them. They're really good. Like if they do they're different positions they have there, like maybe very basic, like they have huge shredding machines where
Yeah.
they'll put some employees to shred. I mean, if there's the very basic of job titles that they can do, depending on the special need, we do have certain employers that will work with disabilities like that.
Yeah. Yeah, but that is a big problem. You know,
Yeah.
and the people that I'm serving, it's interesting because a lot of times they will have tremendous um they go in with trauma going into the military. They're usually escaping some household trauma. They join the military, they get trauma again in the military, and then they leave the military. They don't have the loving arms of a family member to fall back into. And they become homeless, and then they get those head injuries again, they get more trauma. And so a lot of times the people that are military men and women that fall into homelessness, just have tremendous trauma to overcome. And so that is mostly what we're attending to and trying to help them get back on their feet and get into a place where they're employable again and can contribute as they wish to.
Okay. Does anyone else have questions? I don't want to just hog the conversation. And I know a lot of you, and you normally have lots of questions. Okay. Well, if you think of them, let us know. Um, I want to talk for a minute then about the ongoing supports. You guys were talking about ongoing supports, and that's very common on the disability side where we all work, that we look at um, job coaches that come in and provide that ongoing support. So is that, and I'm sorry if you said it and I didn't hear it correctly. I know you talked about like the case management, and you guys are so good at these wraparound holistic services, whereas in our field we're sometimes a little more segmented. But are there ongoing job coaching types of supports, or how can that look for the veterans?
Sandy, do you want to speak to that?
Sure, I can. Like I said, Endeavors will walk alongside the veteran for a full year, even after employment, and still check back every once in a while. Just because they've met their year doesn't mean that the case manager lets them, um, or forgets about them, I should say. They'll still check back every once in a while. Hey, are you still doing okay? Now, if the veteran does the full year and say a year or two down the line, they need our assistance again, they're more than welcome to come back and use the program again. The
But
services, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
well, I was gonna say, are those more like the case management and social service types of services, or are there folks that go on into the workplace and kind of help them learn new tasks or adjust to changing responsibilities or things like that?
Well, if the veteran would want more training or other training, like say they're doing a job and they're like, now I've kind of thought about it and I want to do IT. There we absolutely will invest in the veteran and help them IT, like I said, CDL, forklift certification. If there's something else they want to do, Pima community also has the fast track. So there's different programs that we can get them in to learn. If they feel like they're not thriving in whatever they're doing, of course we can put them into something else. If they're, that's where we're in the beginning, the case manager will sit with them before even getting to the employment, and they do two assessments, long-term, short-term goals to help the veteran. And sometimes they might be going in thinking that they're going to do one thing, and by the time they do the long-term, short-term goals, it's changed. Like I had one veteran, I did case management for a bit. I had one veteran that was talking about he did the medical field all while he was in the service. He came out, he did it for a small period of time. He worked with youth, and his eyes literally, while we were doing the second assessment, his eyes lit up when he talked about working with the youth. And I was like, wait a minute, you sound like you would thrive better in this. So that's where we worked on the level 1 fingerprint card. We worked on CPR certification. There's so many young, like Gap Ministries, they work with young adults here in the Pima County. So there's a lot of programs that work with youth, and that's what he's working on now. So yeah, and like I said, we continue to support them throughout. Not only that, we also connect them with others We always like to tell the veteran, you know, they may sound like they're doing the repetitive same thing that we do. Like we work with Kino One Stop, AJC, which is American Job Center, the DEVOPS, or the developmentally disabled veterans. We work as a team. And we like to tell the veteran, you're not only getting me, or you're not only getting this person, but you're getting a whole wraparound team of people that's loving on you and supporting you to make sure you're a success in the.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
a lot of times I find that veterans, they oftentimes just kind of need that healthy start. You know, if you figure out what they really need and you get them set up well, they will be successful. They kind of come, you know, they did it in the military. They're used to kind of getting their direction and rolling with it. And I see that in the workplace also. They, once they get their mission, they're very good at continuing their mission. As long as the employer and the employee are in tune with each other, you often see a lot of success in that way, which is wonderful.
Awesome. And you know, Suzanne, you said it on one of your slides. I think there are a lot of opportunities for our two systems to work together and come as Sandy was saying, there's, you know, the whole team of people. We should all be on each other's teams, and I think historically we haven't been so good at that, but we definitely have opportunities to do more. And you know, we're plotting some stuff, so
Yes,
we'll
for sure.
make that happen. Does anyone have any final thoughts or questions before we wrap up, or do you guys have any final words before we wrap up?
Thank you all for your time today. I really appreciate it. I know it's very valuable time. We're all very busy right now, especially this time of year, but we appreciate your time and that you took your time to spend with us this morning. And thank you, Sandy.
I would say the same thing. I also want to say thank you to all our vets. I know some of you are, and thank you for your service. Tomorrow is Veterans Day, so it's such an important role, and we all need to show our gratitude and appreciation for what people sacrifice for all of us to be able to have meetings like this and do what we're doing. And thank you, Suzanne and Sandy, for sharing your time and letting us peek into that side of things this morning. It has been wonderful. So thank you all for your attention. There, I believe, has been a link posted in the chat for our survey. We like your feedback so that we are able to gear these sessions to meet your needs. That's why they're here. And please join us next month because I haven't fully nailed down the topic, but I know what it's going to be, and I'm so very excited. At December 8th, on December 8th at 10 a.m. We look forward to seeing you all then, and have a wonderful November.
Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Sandy.